Good morning, everyone. I'm Michael. I'm going to be your host for this morning's session. Today we're looking at the report design. It's the very final session of this series. And it's the quiz. So a chance to test your knowledge. What have you learned? What have you forgot? What would you like to revisit? So we'll spend maybe around about an hour running through the quiz today. Usual format if you've attended one of our quiz sessions before. Now, just before we get started though, usual bit of housekeeping. There are no handouts for today's session. It's just a quiz. But if you have a microphone, which you don't need for these sessions, if you've enabled it as you've joined, you will find it's muted. That's done automatically. You can't unmute yourself. Any comments or questions along the way, please use the questions panel. Just click the little speech bubble icon. It'll expand the panel. You'll get access to that box in the bottom right-hand corner. So that will be available to you throughout as well. As usual, the webinar is being recorded, and a link to the recording along with links so that you can register for our upcoming webinars and so you can watch recordings. They'll be included on there as well. So you get that round about an hour after we finish. Remember the other sessions that we've run in this series. So we've run through quite a few of them now. There's been 7 topics plus today's quiz. If you need a recap on any of those recordings are available. The handouts for those sessions as well, if you are interested in them and you want them, they're available to download from the recordings page as well. Right, okay, now today we're going to be having 4 rounds. So 4 rounds of 5 questions. There will be a final round. We like to throw that one in at the end. And then just right at the end of the session, I'll explain a little bit more about the additional support. And obviously, if there are any outstanding questions from yourselves, I'll try and pick those up as well. So the sort of running order, we're going to go through each round. After each round, I'll run through the answers to that round. And as I say, probably take us around about an hour to get through that. So it's an opportunity to test your knowledge. There are those multiple rounds. Obviously, we're running through the answers as well. We're going to be using the polling facility today to collect your responses. So these will be shared. You might have seen similar polls when you've attended other webinars. So you can choose your answer or answers. Some of them are where you can select a multi-select answer. Remember to click submit, and that will lock your answer in. Now, we don't mark the sessions. It's really just there, a bit of fun, and so you can test your knowledge. But keep your own score, and we'll sort of give us an idea at the end how well you've done. So good luck, and we'll get started. So we're going to get stuck into round 1 now. These questions aren't in any particular order. We're not doing round 1 based on session number 1, but they are mixed up a little bit. So we'll start with the first one. If I can find the drop down, there we go. So first question, I'll pop that on your screens. Question 1, when you click send to Excel, which records are sent? Is it A, all records, including those that are hidden? B, all records that are listed? Or is it C, only those records that are highlighted? So this is specifically when you click send to Excel. Really useful option, that one. It's something we talk about in session 1 quite a bit. So where we look at options that you've got prior to actually thinking about having to run a report or anything like that. Sometimes just sending the information to Excel from your list is exactly what you need. Now, what I'll normally do for these is I'll wait till I get it. I'll not wait till everyone answers, because I appreciate everyone, people will get disrupted, I should say, and they'll get distracted by other things, and they'll maybe need to answer a phone or deal with a customer or supplier or whatever. So I'll just wait till I get a decent percentage of you voting, and then I'll close the poll, which I'll do right now. And then I'll share the results with you as well, so you can see that. So we've got 70% of you going for option B, all records that are listed, and 30% of you going for option C, only those that are highlighted. Now, we will obviously be revealing the answers. We'll run through them at the end of each round. For now, on to question 2. So question 2, sorting your customer list into balance order applies this order to your reports. Is that true or false? If you click on, if you're wondering what I mean by sorting your customer list into balance order, I mean you're, let's say, working in the customer's ledger and you click on the balance column heading, it will put them in ascending order by balance. Would that be pulled through onto your report or not? Right. What was interesting as well from my perspective, I can see the sort of the votes starting to come through and what percentage. If I just close it and share it with you at that point, you've got a nice even 50-50 split. So 50% of you thinking that is true and 50% of you thinking it isn't. Right, on to question 3. So question 3, if you apply a filter to your list of customers, will it affect your colleagues' view? So this is something we get asked about all the time. So if I do this on my PC, and it doesn't matter what we're talking about, whether it's to do with like running a year end or running a report or adding a new customer or anything, well, people always say, well, if I do that, will my colleague be able to see that, or will it affect what they can see? So if you apply a filter to your list of customers, will it affect your colleague's view? Yes or no? Right, votes coming through thick and fast there. Let's quickly share them. So everyone that voted there or chose an answer has gone for no. Question 4. How many logos can you add to your invoice layout, or any layout for that matter? How many can you add? Is it 1? Is it 2? Or is it as many as you like? Is there no restriction on that? Super. Right. And then actually, I'll just quickly share that with you. So everyone went for option C there. You share as many as you like, or add as many as you like, I should say. Tied that one, and then we'll go on to the final question of round 1. Which is question 5. So question 5, your data is held on a server. If you amend your invoice layout, will your colleagues see the changes? Yes or no? If you added let's say a logo to your invoice layout, would your colleagues see that? And it's another common question that our support team get asked about all the time. Right, loads of you answered that one. So bit of a split on this one, 83% going for yes and 17% going for no. I'll even show you that if I click the right button. Right, okay, let's hide that. Right, let's run through some answers. You'll find out how you get on. So question 1 was, when you click send to Excel, which records are sent? It's all records that are listed. Now that's in contrast to reporting, in that if you highlight some records, So you highlight, say, 10 customers. When you run a report, only the ones that are highlighted would be included. Whereas when you use send to Excel, it ignores that highlight completely. So if there's anything you don't want to include when you send to Excel, that's when you really need to start looking down the filters route for that. Is there a way that using filters that you can hide those records? Or is it just as easy just to send it across to Excel and then strip them out manually, the ones that you don't need? So again, keep your own score. So answer B was the correct option. Question 2, sorting your customer list into balance order. Applies this order to your reports? It doesn't. So it doesn't matter what you do with that customer list, whether you hide information or show additional columns, or whether you sort ascending or descending, it will ignore that when you run the report itself. So false is the correct answer for that one. Question 3, if you apply a filter to your list of customers, will it affect your colleagues' view? It won't. So when you apply a sort or you filter your list, it saves that information, essentially the records that are displayed. It will save that as a file to your data directory, and it will use your username for that one. So it's specific to you. If you went onto your colleague's PC and logged on as yourself, then that would the sort of the filtered list would follow you around as such, because it would pick up that setting, but it won't affect your colleagues. So it's quite common where people say, right, well, my colleague's been entering invoices all day, but I can't see any of them. And that's because you've probably got some sort of sort applied or maybe a filtered list. So it's normally just a case of either refreshing your list or resorting your list, or maybe removing the filter that's excluding them from your view. Question 4, how many logos can you add to your invoice layouts? Answer is as many as you like. Again, people do get carried away when it's coming up to Christmas and things like that. They start adding the old clip art and things like that to their invoices. Again, up to you. So company logos, trade logos, it might be an image of maybe a new product that you sell. Could be something like that. Be a photograph of the team that you work with, everyone with a Santa hat on coming up to Christmas. It's entirely up to you. You can add as many as you want, no restriction on that. And it goes for any other layout or report for that matter. And final question in the round, or final answers to this round. Your data is held on a server. If you amend your invoice layout, will your colleagues see the changes? Yes, they will. Your layouts are held on the same path as your data files. So anyone connecting direct to that data that's held on your server will also see the same changes. And similarly, if they amend the layout, you would see those changes as long as you're connected direct to the data that's held on that server. The one exception is if you link in via remote data access. So if you link in via remote data access, when you let's say you make a change at work, and then you go home and you're accessing Sage from home. Initially, you would see that change. So you will see the first change. It syncs. After that, it won't sync any additional changes. So answer is yes, but do bear that in mind if you use the remote data access option. Right, let's move on to round 2. Get some more questions displayed for you. So question 6. So question 6, you've edited an invoice layout and are happy with it. What's your next step? So what do we normally recommend that you do? Would you archive a copy of your data? Would you take an all files backup, or would you take a layouts only backup? What do we recommend in that sort of situation? Sometimes you run these and you think, well, should I deduct a point if anyone gets this one wrong? Great, loads of answers come through. Everyone has gone for option C, take a layouts only backup. Right, question 7. So question 7 is, if you edit a default customer report, which folder will it save it to? So remember, you've got to do that save as option when you edit a default report. So which folder would it save that to? Is it favorites, recent reports? Would it save it to the same as the original report, whichever folder that's held in? Is it the My Customer Reports, or is it the All Reports folder? Which of those 5? Again, common support query, this one, where people have edited a report, they've done the save as, they've closed out, and then they can't find it. So which folder does it save it to? Share the results with you. So 13% of you gone for option A, 25% saying same as the original report, and 63% of you going for the My Customer Reports folder. Question 8. How can you change the name of your invoice layout? Now there's possibly more than one answer this time round, so select all that apply. So how can you change the name of your invoice layout? So can you A, double click the layout, rename it? Is it B, right click the layout and then change the name and description? Or is it C, edit the layout? So which would obviously open it within the report designer, and then you've got report properties. So where can you do that? Again, don't be too concerned if you find that you're not doing that well. You never know, you might surprise yourself. But if you find you aren't doing that well, remember the recordings are available. And because it's reporting as well, it's something that you can have a go of. It's not going to affect your data in any way when you're editing reports. Great, let's just share what people have voted for. So half of you that's chosen answer there went for option A, 90% of you went for B, and 70% of you indicated or chose the option edit the layout, report, and then report properties. Moving on to question 9. When editing a report, what's the easiest way to see if an object is text or a variable? A, double click it. B, hover your mouse over it. Or C, right click it. So what's the easiest way to tell if an object on that report is either text or a variable? Great. So again, no one's gone for option A this time. Everyone that voted there, chose an answer, went for option B. And again, no one going for C. And final question of round 2. Pop that on your screen as well. Which option would you use to add your website address to your invoice layout? Would you add a data field or would you add text? So which option would you use? I think this is always interesting, this one, when I see the answers coming through. And I will share those results with you again. So 33% of you going for option A, add a data field, and the rest of you, so 67% of you going for option B, add text. Right, let's run through some answers, see how you got on. So question 6, you've edited an invoice layout, you're happy with it, what's your next step? I'm pleased to say everyone got that one right. Take your layouts only backup. You could take an all files backup as well, but obviously that does include your data. And it means that, you know, if you make a mess of your layout, you maybe your layout's deleted for whatever reason. If you need to restore an all files backup, it takes your data back to that point in time when that backup was taken. But if it's a layouts only, it's just going to essentially restore your layouts back into the software to essentially undo the deletion or undo the change that you've made. Remember when if you are, it's just in case you've edited a layout, remember you can always do a save as. You can do that as many times as you want. The only thing I would say in that sort of scenario as well is if you're doing a save as time and time again, obviously potentially you're going to have a number of copies of those different layouts. Do a tidy up afterwards, just so that, you know, if your colleagues aren't looking at the list of layouts and thinking, oh, hold on a minute, which one should I be using? I'm not sure. So do that tidy up exercise afterwards and get rid of the ones that you don't need, or make sure you reflag the relevant layout as the favorite. Moving on to question 7, if you edit a default customer report, which folder will it save it to? It's the My Customer Reports folder, so we'll do that by default. So all of your ledgers that have a reports area, so customers, suppliers, nominal, bank, invoicing, so virtually all of them. If you edit a report and save it, it will save it into the My Customer, My Supplier, My Transactions, My Nominal reports, whichever ledger you're working in. So that's the default. It doesn't have to be saved to there. You can override that if you wanted to. So let's say you were editing let's just say an aged debtors report within customers. By default, when you go to do the file save as, it'll save it to the My Customer Reports, but there would be nothing to stop you saving it back to the aged debtors folder if you wanted to. But by default, it would be the My Customer Reports. So that's where you'll find them. Question 8, how can you change the name of your invoice layout? Well, B and C are technically correct there. Double clicking doesn't work, doesn't give you an option for that one. If you right click the layout, you'll be able to change the name, and there is an option to change name and description. Now, if it's a default layout, you'll only be able to change the description at that point. But if it's your own invoice layout, if you edit it, you would be able to right click it and then change both the name and the description. And of course, you can do that within the report designer. So option C as well, you edit the layout, then go to report menu, report properties, and you'll have the name and the description field, and you can change that to whatever you want that to be. Again, it might just be a case of changing it, put your company name in, make it a bit shorter than the standard ones, just so it sticks out like a sore thumb on your list. So B and C are correct. Question 9, when editing a report, what's the easiest way to save an object is either text or a variable? easiest option, just hover your mouse over it. Remember, if you hover your mouse over an object and it just gives you the sort of the highlight box around it, it means it's text. If you hover and you get that floating box pop up, which might say variable or expression, then it will say something like variable, and it will give you the table and the variable name. Double clicking it would actually open it within the expression editor if it's a variable. If it's text and you double click it, it'll just put the highlight box around the text and it will give you the flashing cursor. So if you've made a typo or you need to change that text for whatever reason, then you can do it that way. And changing text leads us nicely onto the next question as well, which is question 10. Which option would you use to add your website address to your invoice layout? You can actually use either. So if you've got your website address recorded within your company preferences area, there may be other information in there as well, like contact numbers, that type of thing. Then you could include that as a data field and it would pull that information from that area. But you could also add it as text. Any information which is pretty much static, such as your website, telephone numbers, then you always have the option to add those as text. Even your company name and address. By default, they are on the invoice layout to pull it through from the company preferences area, but there will be nothing to stop you from removing those variables from your invoice layout and just replacing that with some text. So you want to get really clever with the design. That's what a lot of people tend to do. And just going back to sort of the answer from question 9, if you double click that text, it will give you that flashing cursor within the text box, meaning that if necessary, you can, of course, change it. So both answers were correct there. Right, let's head back to the polls and we'll start with round 3. So question 11, which table, I'll put this on your screen as well, which would help. So question 11, which table contains the variables for customer record information? Is it A, the company table? Is it B, customer ledger? Is it C, sales ledger? So is it company, customer ledger, or sales ledger? Right, votes coming through really quickly there. Right, let's share those. So 30% going for customer ledger, 70% going for sales ledger. On to question 12. So question 12, true or false question, this one. Expressions can contain only numeric data. True or false? So can you think of any examples? This was included in, I think, a couple of the demos. Brilliant. Okay, so again, sharing the results. Everyone that answered that one and submitted their answer went for false. Question 13, sticking with the expressions theme. Which expression would show the account reference and name? Now that should say in the following format. So the format being SA123 space, a dash, a space, and then the company name. So just the example there, SA123, we've got a dash and then Sage is the company name. So which of those expressions So the sort of the start and end of that expression is it's the same. Just a case of the middle bit, which is the correct one. What would give you what would present the results of that expression in that format? Right, okay. Loads of those. Hopefully it's given you a little bit of a chance to have a good look at that, spot the difference between them. Close that, share the results with you. Well, 11% of you going for A, 78% of you, the majority, going for option B, and then 11% of you going for option C. Right, let's move on. So question 14. A filter can be added to which of the following? Is it A, the whole report, B, a section of the report, C, an object such as a text or a data field, so an object on the report, or is it D, all of the above? So again, answers starting to come through at my end. Right, again, I'll share those results with you. So 11% of you going for the whole report. Also 11% of you going for an object on the report. And 78% of you going for all of the above. And then final question of round 3. Pop that up. Again, sticking with a theme of sort of filters. Which filter will return only customer accounts that begin with the letter A? Which of those filters would return those? So it's A, sales ledger ref, sales ledger account ref like A, sales ledger account ref equals A, or sales ledger account ref starts with A. Right, let's share those answers with you. Oh, sorry, share the results with you first of all. So I think everyone went there. Yeah, everyone's gone for option C. Right, let's hide that and we'll again quickly run through some answers. So round 3 answers. Question 11, which table contains the variables for customer record information? It is sales ledger. So customer ledger is not actually a table that actually exists. I just made that one up. So still almost, I suppose, traditional accounting language. So sales ledger in this instance, Report Designer still uses that. It's been obviously Sage 50 accounts being around for, Windows version being around for about 30 years now. So sales ledger is the correct answer for that one. Question 12, expressions can contain only numeric data. That one is false. Obviously, probably But I think probably what you'd expect is that most expressions will contain some form of numeric data, but it doesn't have to just be a calculation field. It can be based around text, dates. It is purely an alphanumeric field. So common expressions that you might come across without even using the report designer would be something like an email subject line. If you email out your invoices or your statements, it might be, you might include in that subject line something like your company name and then maybe some additional text after that. Might say the word invoice and then the invoice number and the due date. It's entirely up to yourself what you want to include in that sort of thing. So the answer to the correct answer was false. Question 13, which expression would show the account ref and name in the following format? It's option B. I think most people got that one. Remember when you're building expressions, now at the time it doesn't put any spacing in for you. So where we've added a sort of a secondary variable. So if we had sales ledger account reference and then we went to add in the sales ledger name as well, it would put the plus sign in, but it doesn't include any spacing in that one. So it ignores that. But if you put the spacing in, it will help when you're trying to read the expression and understand it. There's some quite complex ones, the common ones that people use within our help center. So common expressions, have a look at that one and might help you understand them a little bit better. So if you want the space to be included, it needs to be within the sort of the quotation marks. So option B was right. Question 14, a filter can be added to which of the following? It's all of the above. Now we only demonstrated where you can add a filter to the report itself. So I think we use the example of when we're looking at products and services, filtering based on the location, for instance. I think we also did it based on the last sale date as well. But it was mentioned that you can add filters to a section of a report, but also an object of a report. We didn't demonstrate those ones. It was mentioned. If you want more information about, you want to develop your knowledge a bit further, remember there's loads of information available from our help center. And then the final question or final answer of round 3, which filter will return only customer accounts that begin with the letter A? Pleased to say everyone got this one right. It wasn't a red herring. It is an actual valid answer, and it's sales ledger account ref starts with A. You could have gone down the other route as well if you'd used wildcards. Now, I haven't touched on wildcards in this series. Again, starting to get a bit more advanced, but there are other options. It doesn't starts with A is a nice simple solution. But you could have something like is like A, and then maybe one of the wildcards to say, right, any string of characters after that. Answer C would generate the right results. If you'd gone for A or B, then that would only return the one customer account that is account reference A only. Right, let's keep up the pace. We'll get on to round 4. Fingers crossed you're doing okay so far. Right, question 16. So you can add criteria to a report header to show which criteria the report has been run for. Remember that criteria section on the report when we looked at the design of it. So can you add additional criteria into there to show which criteria the report has been run for? Is that true or false? And loads of votes coming through very quickly. give you another few seconds to those people to click send. We'll close that. See the results. So majority going for true and 11% of you going for false. Question 17. If you don't need to see a section on a report or a layout, you can hide it. Is that true or false? Again, this was something we touched on. I think Report Designer as well is one of those, when you start thinking what's possible, you think, oh, well, can I do that to my report? Or can I not? Is there a limitation there? Is there not? Right, everyone going for true. Let's hide that one. And we'll get on to question 18. So question 18, on a multi-page report, so when you're generating, it goes on to more than one page. Where would objects in the report header section show? A, they wouldn't, so they wouldn't be included on the multi-page report. Is it B, they would appear on page 1 only? Or is it C, would they appear on all pages? Again, this might be something when you look at your reports when you generate them. Would it be advantageous to have information at the top of each page or not? You might move that information into a different section. I'll try not to give the answer away just yet though. Right, so 60% if you're going for B, page 1 only, and 40% if you're going for all pages. Find out in just a minute. So second last question today. Question 19. What's the impact of adding a group to a non-grouped report? Is it A, a new page header and footer are added? Is it B, a new group header and footer are added? Is it C, a new report header and footer are added? Or is it D, all of the above? Remember the non-grouped reports, when we started talking about sort of groups and sections, a non-grouped report, the examples we gave you were the listing type reports. So like to have a customer list, supplier list, nominal list, bank account list, might be a list of invoices. So that's what you would class as a non-grouped report. Whereas a grouped report, it might be something like, say, customer activity, where it shows the customer and it then lists all of their transactions, then the next customer, their transactions, etc. So non-grouped reports would just basically give you that list. Okay, quickly share the results with you. 75% of you going for option B. You would add a new group header and footer, and 25% of you going for D. It would add all of the above. Right, let's quickly move on to our final question in today's quiz. So question 20, when a group is added, a data sort is automatically applied. Is that true or false? So when a group is added, a data sort is automatically applied. You're not sure, just have a guess. Again, I'm not keeping track of you won't get a score. You need to generate your own score at the end of this. The idea is, again, bit of fun and gives you an opportunity to test your knowledge. What have you taken in? Is there anything you need to maybe go back to and maybe revisit? If it would prove useful, of course, there might be areas of the report design you think, I'm not going to touch that. Right, okay, share the results. Nice round sort of split this one. So 60% is going for true and 40% going for false. Right, let's run through some answers. Right, answer to question 16. You can add criteria to a report header to show which criteria the report has been run for. It's true, you can. So the report header, or the criteria that you can add to the top, it basically, so when you generate that report, whether you print it or you save it as a file, you can tell what you've run that report for. You can see what criteria you specified at the time. So did you run it for a date range? Did you choose to include inactive accounts or exclude them? Or did you just say, all right, I want all of them? So you can add that criteria to the top section of your report, so it does include that. Question 17, if you don't need to see a section on a report or layout, you can hide it. It's true, you can. So there's bound to be some reports, if you do add sections to reports, or maybe you add a grouping and you think, actually, well, I don't need the footer section for that group. You can actually hide it. You might just compact everything a bit more as well. If there's information in there that maybe you haven't included anything, or maybe you just don't need to see the information in that section. So you can, if you want to, you can choose to hide it. Question 18, on a multi-page report, where would objects in the report header section show? They would show on page 1 only. So there's a little bit of a divide on this, the answers to this one. So it is page 1 only. And that's because it's on the report header section. If you wanted that information to appear on all pages, might be like column headings, just make it a little bit easier if you're working from a printout, for instance, then you can change it to, or move the information out of report header section into what's termed a page header section. And then it would appear on every page of the report. And of course, vice versa, you might think, well, actually, I don't need the same information coming up time and time again. I'll just I'll sort of move everything out of the page header section into the report header, and then I'll just see it once at the beginning of the report. Question 19, what's the impact of adding a group to a non-grouped report? Answer to that one is B. A new group header and footer are added. Obviously, you can add a new page header and a new report header and footer sections, but just by adding a group, it wouldn't add those by default. So just be, remember when we did that in this session, it added a group above the detail, what we were pulling through, and then also a section behind it, below it as well. So it's sort of almost like a layering thing. When you add that group, it pops a header section and a footer section for that group. And then the answer to the final question, question 20, when a group is added, a data sort is automatically applied. It is true. So you wouldn't see that in the sorts area. Remember, if you're adding a group, you can choose how that group is actually sorted. You can do that manually. So by default, it would be in ascending order, but you could choose to change that to descending order if required. So you would need to do that via when you select the group on the design of the report or the layout, you can then go into the properties panel, top right-hand corner, and there'll be an ordering option in there where you can choose ascending or descending. But it will automatically do that for you. Right, okay, that concludes the questions. We've got one final round, which is the anagram round. Let me line up the correct one for today. So for the anagram, it's something to do with today's session. So pop your answer, if you work that out, put your answer into the questions panel. So today's anagram is Bill's Raven database. So what does that link, or what does it relate to? I'm not sure who Bill is and what he's interested in the ravens outside his house are, but he obviously keeps a database of them. So Bill's Raven database, what does that relate to and what we've covered this week? So pop an answer, if you can work that out, anything springs to mind, pop it into the questions panel. Let's give you a little while. It's a bit more of a difficult one, that one, I thought. Any guesses? Right, I'll give you another 30 seconds or so, just to see if anyone comes up with an answer as to what that could be. Got Matt in the background there, he's smiling because he's worked it out. He is cheating though, he's using AI as normal. Loves it, loves a bit of AI. If you haven't been to his AI webinar, keep an eye out for that one. Quite interesting. Alison, go on, we've got one at last. Alison's got it right. So, right, excellent. I can reveal that now then. So it's tables and variables. So tables and variables was the answer to Bill's Raven database. So well done, Alison. You're the only one that got that one today. Right, okay. So hopefully you've enjoyed it today. It's tested your knowledge, give you some food for thought. Have you taken anything in? Have you not? Is there any areas you want to go back to revisit? Again, if you've got any questions, if you want to pop them in there, I'll hang around just for a minute or two, just see if any questions do come through. Remember, you can always get in touch with our support team as well. Loads of information available in our help centre as normal. It does say download the handout. There's no handout for this specific session. But if you need any handouts from the previous sessions we've run for the report design series, those recordings and the link to the handout, they're included on the follow-up email, which you'll receive in round about an hour's time. Now, let me know how you got on today. So pop a comment in the questions panel. Let me know how you got on. I know some people have attended the quiz before. Did you do any better? Did you not? Have you just attended the quiz only? Just thought you'd chance your arm and see what you knew about Report Designer. So I think this should be out of 20 today. So give me did you do better than you thought? Were you totally rubbish and got nothing? But let me know how you got on. Now, just while you're doing that, just to remind you, we've got loads of webinars coming up. We're just busy deciding on the December timetable at the moment. Otherwise, the live webinar timetable, it runs up to the end of November. We do have another digital badge that will be in November to celebrate International Accounting Day. We've got a series, I'll quickly show you these ones just while you're popping in your scores and things. If we find the right button there. just share my screen and we'll access the webinar page. So these are the sessions to celebrate International Accounting Day. So if you want to earn that badge, these sessions are targeted at, I suppose, processes to help you streamline your business a little bit, those processes, and automate those tasks a little bit as well. So if you've never covered bank feeds before, come along, see what it's all about. It's a great way to not only of getting transactions into your session, into your accounts, but also it's a great way to streamline your reconciliation process as well. Just makes it that little bit quicker. Session 2 will be cover Sage Copilot. Specifically, we're looking at the automated payment reminders. We do run regular Copilot webinars, so if you've heard about that and you want to find out a little bit about it, get yourself signed up for one of those. But as part of the badge, we'll be looking specifically at the automated payment reminders. And just before anyone asks, Copilot isn't available on Ireland just yet. I was expecting that question to pop through. Session 3, we'll look at Sage Connect. Sage Connect Fab feature, it's one of our connected services. If you think about all those questions you get from your customers, whether it's an email, might be a phone call saying, well, I need a copy of that invoice. With Sage Connect, what it will do, it will host them online in the Connect portal, and you can send your customers a link, we'll term a magic link, to that portal. It's all secure. And from that, they will be able to download any of the invoices that you've sent them. So really good option, particularly over Christmas. So if you shut down over Christmas, you know, you don't want Christmas, oh, I really need that, and get frustrated that they can't get hold of it. You're giving them access to that information. They can download that themselves. Coming soon in relation to that as well, will the ability for them to make a payment to you online via that as well. So do come along. We're just covering the basics of Sage Connect in that session. I think that's going to be Laura taking you through that one. Matt will be taking you through AI document capture. AI document capture, if you've not come across that one, it's a way of quickly bringing in purchase invoices and purchase credit information. So if you get emailed them or you've got a scanned copy of it, you can upload that and it will read that information. And if it recognizes who it's from, it can automatically post it to that specific account. You will be able to make changes, but it's the equivalent of you entering a batch invoice. So entering that into your accounts. If you want to see that one in action, get yourself registered for that. And of course, it's mandatory, the quiz element. So we'll be running those sessions. There's 2 sessions of each one, so hopefully you'll get a chance to do that. You'll need to attend 3 of the 4 topics plus 1 of the quiz sessions to earn that digital badge. And speaking of digital badges, we will try and get them issued this afternoon for the report design series. So it's a bit of a rush, but we're going to try and do that because some of us are off for the half term next week. Right, let's quickly pop back to the my final slide of today. And again, just as normal, I'd like to thank you for coming along today. I hope you've enjoyed the series. If you want to find out more about Report Designer, let me know what your thoughts are. Would you want to learn more about it? What would you want to learn? Do you need more hands-on experience? Is it a case you'd like to do almost like a follow-along series? So we come up with a concept of, right, this is a common report. Right, let's follow that along and we'll show you how to do that, and you can follow that along while you're working in your software. So more of almost like classroom type-based training almost. So anything and everything. If you've got any thoughts, ideas, feedback for the webinar today or the webinar series as a whole, pop it on that survey. It should pop up as you leave today's session. If you can take a minute to do that, always appreciated. So we have completed the series. Fingers crossed, badges will be issued this afternoon. So once again, many thanks for coming along. We'll end the webinar just at that point. Do get yourself signed up for some of those upcoming webinars, and I hope to see you on them very, very soon. Many thanks.